Welcome, guys, to the first episode of the Tech Society Show, a show where we talk all things about science, tech, and innovation. I'm your host, Yamunaa, and let's get things started. So, we have the coordinator of Tech Society with us here, Mr. Marinto Riche. We have a few questions, but before that, let him introduce himself.
So, hi, I'm Marinto, final year AIDS. So, that's about me, and I'm the coordinator for Tech Society.
So, without further ado, let's dive into the questions today. So, first question for you today is what exactly do you guys do in Tech Society? Like, what are the projects, events that you guys do?
Yeah, so Tech Society is basically a community trained by, we're a community of students under four communities: machine learning, intelligent systems, game and app development, and what else? Web development. So, what we do is that we concentrate on a project-based learning. What we try to do is try to implement real-world projects that add value. Let's just say there is some problem statement in our college or that you think that might need fixing. You come up with that problem statement, and then we, as a team, work on creating a solution towards that. And during that process, we try to learn each technology in that domain. So it's completely trained by students. So you will have this freedom of talking to seniors, students from other departments, and all those things. So it'll be a very different approach to a regular club-based initiative. Where in club-based, mostly you have this hierarchy of staff and all those things. So here you don't have that. You all the people in this community are basically your students, probably seniors or juniors or people from other departments. You'll have a different approach to learning new technologies. That's the effect. So the first thing is that there was this message in our WhatsApp group, something called Tech Society. It was in news, very new, because it's not very often that you hear something like Tech Society. I initially had no idea what Tech Society was, and during that stage, I barely talked to anyone in my department. I was, completely blind about this Tech Society I'm using, but I gave it a shot. I wanted to try something new because it was my third year, final sem in my third year. So I wanted to try something new. So I applied for that position. And then there was this interview with Waiter and a few other staff, professors as well. And there they had they wanted me to share some ideas of how we take Tech Society through or how we what ideas that would improve the college experience, things like that. So once we were done with that, then probably after 2 or 3 days, there was this, call from my city saying that we were about Tech Society and all these things happened. And then we came up with this beautiful team, my assistant coordinators, secretaries, joint secretaries, and all those things. So, yeah, then we started working on our events and projects. That's how Tech Society started.
What was your reaction when you came to know that you're the coordinator of Tech Society?
To be very honest, I knew because the only role that I applied was the coordinator. I didn't apply for any other. It was the option to apply for every role possible. But I don't. I probably had this confidence that I would get that position because that was the very first time I took an initiative to join any such initiatives. Right? Yeah, the clubs. That would be the very first time because from my first year, first year was a complete lockdown, and second year we had classes in our first sem, and then we joined our college for probably only for the practical exams, I think. Yeah, practical year, and then again we went back to the second lockdown and all these things happened. So the college experience was very new up until the third year. So only up to that stage, I wanted to try something. Yeah, that's how that happened.
Okay, so the next question is, what are the challenges that you guys face in Tech Society? Like, you're the coordinator as of now. So you might have a few problems like managing students or like keeping up with projects and everything around. So how was it for you?
So there are a lot of challenges, but in the end, you'll be able to learn lot of things that you are not usually exposed to. I've seen people participating in clubs, but we are just members of the clubs in most cases. But in this experience, you'll be able to, in most projects that we do, let's just take projects for the sake. In projects that we do, we don't like blindly do projects in the way we do our college experience. How we take our projects is that we start in a very professional manner. How the industry does it, that's exactly how we also do our projects. We start with our UX design and all those things, and then we split our teams into front and back end, and then we collaborate in a version control system like GitHub, and then we do our projects. So all this experience might seem very intimidating at the early stages. Oh my God, we're into something very professional. Or it was very new because most people don't know what GitHub is until you are, very good at all those version effects. But once you get into the projects and once you start, exploring the software and all those things, you will understand how easy those things are. So one such learning is what I got from Tech Society. So it was obviously very challenging at the early stages because you have a very big responsibility of managing this large population, 20 people and 4 communities and all those things. At the starting stages, it was kind of tricky because even we had no idea how Tech Society was going. The direction was completely unknown because we had to find a right path in the early stages. We had this constitution framed up in the beginning, like what rules that are to be followed, being a member of Tech Society, also being the secretary, joint secretary, coordinator, assistant coordinator, and all those things. So after all those things, I think the most difficult part is that framing a system that would function even when you're absent. I think it is very challenging in any such positions because you'll have to, make changes in this team in such a way that even if you're absent or even if some part of the chain is missing, the flow has to go on because ultimately you'll have to work with that and all those things. So so that was a bit challenging, but I had my team with me, so it went very good.
So relying on the team.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, so if we're talking about all these projects that you guys do, imitating in a way where it's sort of like how the industry does it basically. So how do you think it's going to help the students when the placement season comes up? What do you think the employers or the companies expect a student, like what kind of projects do they expect us to have?
Yeah, there is no specific project that each HR or hiring agent that
Not like that. Like I'm talking about is it like sort of like a part of the project is enough, or you want to do the whole thing? I'm asking in that way. Like also, what are the domains that are right now very what do you call this prevalent, or what they're looking for?
in placements, the one major thing that most people look for is how confident you are during the interview phase. Be it whatever technology that which is say Python, front end, back end, whatever technology that everything is worthy in some field. Because all fields require some stage of your expertise. Let's just say back end. Some people say front end is a dying field. There are AI models replacing your the entire process, right? So you don't, there is no such technology or valuable knowledge that you need to know to get a placement guarantee. All you have to know is be strong in whatever technology that you know and have some projects that back your, skill set. Let's just say some project that if you're a good in AI and ML or machine learning or data science, have some projects that, show that you are good in that field or things like that. You don't need to always have skill sets in all domains or strong projects in all domains. You just have to have that skill set that, like data set, data science or things like that. You have to have some project that show that you are strong in data science. Some really, it may not be a major project like big data sets, really processing it. It can be very simple, but you'll have to understand the end-to-end flow of how the project exactly works. So that will obviously help you with your placement side.
So you're saying that we should zero down on one domain and specialize in it. Know the top down in that domain.
Yeah, the chances are you won't get lost in the process because trying to find the right technology itself will take a very long time. Instead, focusing on what you know best will obviously have its own benefits, right?
Okay. So then, let's wrap up all the very professional questions. We'll talk about you. So, if in fact you can go back in time, travel in a time machine and go back, what would you tell your younger self? Like the one I'm talking when you joined first year, when you completed your high school, what would you tell your younger self? Like, how will you navigate it?
Yeah. So, like one specific thing that I would mention to anyone, be myself in a first year or my juniors or anyone else, is that get started on your projects at a very early stage. Even if you have no idea how to start the project, it's better to start Googling stuff and watching YouTube videos and then blindly start the project or any idea that you have in your mind. Simply waiting to learn the entire technology and then starting on the project is simply, oh, it's a waste of time to me personally, I think. Because out of personal experience, what I feel is that you will never have the technology to or never have the complete understanding of any technology until you start working on a project. Because each and every project has its own requirement for every, every requirement, you mean like front end has its own technologies and there are different frameworks for that, suit different projects. So you don't have to completely learn a technology and then start on your projects. Rather, start on the project and that itself will, teach you the technology that you need to work on such projects. And it will also help you in your placements as well because you know how the thing works instead of theoretically learning the thing and then trying to use it. You will use it and then make your own understanding of the thing. So,
Okay, coming to the next question. Think of a scenario, okay, where you're the host of the show and you have your inspirational figure. What would you ask him? Like, first, who is your inspirational figure and what would you ask him? Question.
very interesting question because most people don't ask that question. Like, they stop with who's your inspirational figure and end of story. But yeah, it's a very interesting. So, if I could interview someone, it will be Mr. Who's the Boss. Because the YouTube tech YouTuber. Yeah. So the reason why he is my inspirational figure is that my tech journey or my interest on tech started with his videos. The way in his where his videos are is it's quite simple. It's not like too fancy like Marcus Brown videos, but it's quite simple, and he doesn't leave all those important details in that review. Like it might not be the most advertised feature of that product, but the most the things that matter to an actual user, those things are the things in his video. So my journey with tech started with his video, so I'll probably interview him, and the question I would ask him is AI really worth the hype these days? Because like most people blindly use this term AI in everything, like toothbrush, toilets. Even toilets have AI these days. Oh my God, what do you do with AI in your toilet and all those things? So that is like absolutely crazy, right? So that's something that I would, find really interesting to know his perspective on that thing. Like, so that's one thing. And also, where do you see the smartphone market in 10 years from now? Because right now you see the smartphone designs are stagnant because iPhone 15, 14 are all the same designs with minor changes, and same with Samsung. So is it the end of smartphone designs, or can we expect something new? So those are
So with India, like having
we have like Tata Electronics, all those big plans coming into India. So is there a shift in the mobile industry, all those things? So that's something that I would ask.
following up on the question that you said you're gonna ask your inspiration figure. You're saying about AI and its hype that's going around for the past, I don't know, 3-4 years
Yeah.
in the quarantine basically. Where do you think quantum computing fits into this? Because there is a thing that we are, what do you call this? We are at this point where
Limitations.
the physical
Yeah,
silicon
there are
chips
limitations.
there is the we are coming to the end of the road.
Yeah,
There is
performance.
now
Yeah.
we need to transform into a new
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So where do you think quantum is gonna take us?
Yeah. So like right now we have the, software has reached the stage where it can outperform every other, limitations that we had in the past. So right now we can easily make programs to run, I don't know, like I don't know the exact time frame on all those things, but probably thousands of a second or something like that. we don't have the GPUs or the physical hardware to power those that scale of programming and computational intensity. So I think quantum computing comes into play in that stage wherein it provides a super scale, like you can multiply your productivity, I mean the computational scale to a billion times probably. I don't know, because supercomputers are reaching the limit these days, and AI power needs more computational power. So quantum computers will obviously create a new way of programming and all those things here. So that's where I think the quantum computing fits.
Staying on the topic of AI, the past week NVIDIA came out with Project Root, where they are starting with a new base model for humanoid robots.
Yeah.
So with this onset of humanoids, we have Tesla with Optimus also, and then we have Boston Dynamics with Atlas and everything and all. So how do you think ethics and human values would be incorporated in these sort of missions? Like, is it possible even to incorporate it?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Like, if you are following the news recently, you know Indian government has set a set of rules for generative AI models and things like that, where you have to get permission from the officials and then use your AI model, just to restrict such, deepfakes and those things. So there is obviously a big question there: is AI being used ethically? So that's something that I think you should probably we'll only know down the time. So I don't think that's an exact answer on how we do that, or there is obviously reason on why we should do that, but there is no answer to how exactly we should incorporate ethics into AI, because in one direction, if you see that restricting the data during training an AI model will obviously, affect its performance in the end. So you don't have to actually, stop the model from training using the entire data, but you'll have to restrict in some way or the other to, avoid such drawbacks or things like that. Because there was this political issue wherein someone asked an AI model about our prime minister and gave some good answer, and they were not satisfied, and that led to all these new rules and regulations to our system ITV. So it obviously affects the pace at which our technology grows, because you'll have to get the permission from the officials and then start your training, and it will obviously affect the growth. But I think it might be necessary, but we'll only know how it performs down the time.
So you think personally having a set of rules like we have right now, having a
It'll
set of
obviously
rules
help, but but I'm not sure if that's the only way on how to incorporate ethics into AI, but that might be an answer. Yeah.
So the next question is, you're a fourth year student as of now. So you'll have projects that you've done over the years. Which is the project that you like the most? Like, which one you felt really interesting, or which one you think satisfied you the most? Which you are very confident in. Like, if I'm gonna go for employment, this is the project that I'm gonna show.
Yeah.
What would be that project, and explain how you did, like, the process of
Yeah.
it.
So basically, there are two set of projects. Like, how I see is that there are experimental projects that you do for the sake of college. Those are very complex. But if you look at the structure of those projects, it's truly very, interesting that there are a lot of technologies involved with those projects and things like that. And there are projects that are very simple, but have a very big impact in real life. So there was this time when, like the fresh first years were joining the college. So we had to, there was this issue of sorting this ID card photos, right? Like we have our ID cards and there is the photo for each student. So uh, the ICT office had collected the bunch of photos from the students, but the photos were not accurate. Accurate in the sense like some were screenshots of their existing passport size photo, and some were not clear and things like that. Some were not having the accurate background and all those things. And there were 1,500 images or more than that probably. So, and they had a very short time frame to, segregate these images like accurate and not accurate. So you had to they had to, work quickly to find a way to easily sort this out. So I created an AI model using the images from the previous years and like for the past 3 years, I guess. I'm not very sure. Yeah, past 3 years, and use that for training an AI model to, basically find an image if it is accepted for ID card or not accepted for ID card. So it's not very complex. It's just an image classification model. Like most people do it in their first year. Like in neural network class, you do it in your first year. Yeah, yeah, third year, something like that. That's your first experiment or something. So it's not very complex, but it's a very simple thing. But you have this real life use case that, probably, shortens the work time by 3 or 4 times. Yeah. You'll otherwise have to manually go through the 1,500 photos and manually segregate them into accepted and rejected. But once this model was done training, it probably took 40 minutes, I think. I'm not very sure. Yeah. It took 40 minutes. And then we used that model to segregate that images, like accepted and not accepted. So that was one interesting project, and it was quite useful. So that feeling that you get, right, once your project is being used, yeah, exactly. So that was something different, and that got me started into working on such different projects. And apart from the college projects, that was something different. Yeah.
Where do you think tech society as a community for learners, you'd say, would be in the future, like in the upcoming years? What do you think it will evolve into?
Yeah, like so. The initial plan was to expand tech society to a different level, wherein we bring in people from the industry to conduct events, and then conduct events wherein people from other colleges or people even from the industry could participate, like hackathons and things like that. But I think it was up to the people who lead tech society after probably 2 or 3 batches after us. So yeah, that is right now the vision and mission of tech society is to, have find a way in which students could learn something by doing projects. So that's our primary goal now. But after 5 or 6 years from now, it's up to the people who lead tech society by that time to take it to a different level.
So that's it. If you have any questions for me, you could ask.
So will you join tech society? I think you are the three. Yeah, you should talk about PR team and how PR team functions in tech society and what exactly PR team does for tech society.
So PR team is basically sort of like we could make it like this. Tech society is the front end and PR team is the back end. Where
Yeah,
we do
exactly.
all the social. We can take care of all the public relations basically. So it's like we have 4 teams here inside PR team itself. There is content team, there is capturing team, there is editing team, and there is graphics team. So they all work in their own fields and everything and all. And obviously, I'm part of the content team, hence why I'm here. And it's all sort of, he was the one who organized all this just to let tech society get more exposure towards
Yeah.
the outside world.
Yeah, the
Let
reason
them
why I
explore.
did that was like initially when we started, it was more focused on tech and how to take out projects and complete those projects, conduct events and all those things. And we couldn't handle that because we had to design posters, conduct events, and find people to coordinate those events and all those things. So I thought it would be better to have a separate team to handle all this public relation stuff like creating posters, videos, YouTube videos, Instagram shots, and I think like you guys are doing a great job. So yeah, I think it worked out.
Okay. So that's all for the questions of this podcast, and hope to see you next time. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode also. So leave us a comment below or tweet us at Tech Society. Thank you.
Thank you.